Hi guys, so today we are talking about travel and how to be eco-friendly when you're traveling. Inevitably when you're traveling you're going to be creating a bigger environmental impact than when you're staying at home. Just because your routine is different, you're using transport, you're probably eating out a lot more, and you're just not doing things or being as mindful maybe as you would be at home. But this doesn't mean we don't love to travel and that we shouldn't travel. So I wanted to give you some tips and tricks on how to do it whilst also staying as eco-friendly as possible. This video is sponsored by Frugal Cup. They're getting me involved because they want me to encourage you guys to sign their petition to get your local coffee shop to be stocking their cups. They are the only genuinely recyclable coffee cup available, and they are made from recycled paperboard. So more about that in a minute, and I will link the petition down below if you want to check it out. But let's get into the tips. So the first thing is to consider how you're traveling somewhere, thinking about using public transport instead of getting a plane or driving in a car. So traveling by bus or train uses so much less CO2 than planes do. Very recently I travelled to Amsterdam via train on the Eurostar when I could have easily got a plane, and I've also got a bus to Brussels in the past. Oftentimes it's actually also a lot cheaper. If you're going to fly, however, there are options to make it better for the environment, opting for a non-stop flight rather than stopping off in multiple places. Also, I think websites like Skyscanner offer an eco-friendly option, so check that out when you're booking your flight. Or you can carbon offset, which measures your carbon output from one activity and removes or prevents it from another. There are lots of ways you can do this online and projects that you can contribute to. The second thing you can do is to bring your own reusable coffee cups, reusable Tupperware, cutlery. We have our own that we take everywhere when we go traveling, so we don't have to be using the disposable option. Which brings me to Frugal Cup. If you are in a situation where you don't have your own coffee cup, you've forgotten it, or you didn't have the space for it when you're traveling, it's really important that coffee shops and local cafes have a recyclable option like Frugal Cup. 2.5 billion coffee cups are used and thrown away just in the UK every single year. Just let that sink in. That is mind-blowing, and less than 5% end up being recycled. Normal paper coffee cups aren't easily recyclable because of their plastic coating, and nobody seems to be doing much about it. Frugal Cup is the only cup made from recycled paper and can be recycled during the normal mainstream waste process. So it's made from a paper outer and then a food grade PE liner. These easily separate during the recycling process, so they can be recycled as their own parts, and it's also easily recyclable at home, at your coffee shop, or at the office. So if you want to sign the petition and get these into your local coffee shop, then click the link below and be a part of this. Let's make the UK the first place to have all coffee shops have recyclable paper coffee cups. Another thing that I didn't really think about but Alex pointed out to me was to make sure that your car isn't full of loads of stuff every time you're traveling. So travel lighter, empty it out before you go somewhere on a long journey, and make sure that your tyres are good. Just be smart with your car and make sure it's not using excess fuel when it doesn't need to. So one thing that a lot of us do when we travel and we go on holiday is we get a bit carried away with our shopping and our spending habits. So try next time you go somewhere to be more mindful. Try and think back to when you're at home. Would I be buying this if I was at home? Is this an impulse buy? Will I be using this in the next year? And just make sure that you're not picking something up that's kind of useless tat that's going to end up in the bin. And moving on from cutlery or coffee cups or Tupperware, always have your own water bottle. This does not leave my side, and whenever I travel I just go into a local coffee shop or restaurant and just ask them kindly to fill it up for me with the tap water. Just make sure that wherever you're traveling to, the tap water is safe, and if it's not, then sometimes they have reverse osmosis water machines which you can fill up on, or if I don't have those things, I will just buy a really big bottle of water that can keep me going, so I'm using less plastic. If you are planning on travelling somewhere abroad this year, but you're not really sure where, then maybe try think about doing a staycation. A lot of us kind of forget that the country we live in, lots of people travel to every year. In the UK, millions of people travel here every year on holiday. Even where I live in Cornwall, it's a really popular holiday destination. There's so many beaches here and it's beautiful. So think about the country you live in, and maybe there are some places that are really, really popular with tourists or really popular places to visit, but you've never been to before. So if you're going to a new place, then try to support the local businesses there and get to know the community. Go eat at local restaurants, shop at local independent shops. Don't just visit the usual high street chains that you have back at home. Another thing to consider is your accommodation. If you're open to it, you could try house swaps, or Airbnb is a far less wasteful option than hotels, which typically create a lot of waste. Or you could try and find an eco-friendly hotel. There are lots of them out there now that have sustainable policies and are trying to do their bit to be more eco-friendly. One thing that I actually didn't consider until very, very recently was sun cream. Lots of sun creams have chemicals in them that are actually really dangerous and harmful to the ocean, to the coral reefs, to the marine life in there. Up until now, I've been using standard vegan cruelty-free sun cream, but when I next buy some, I'm going to definitely be getting one that is kind to the ocean. So please leave your recommendations in the comments down below. And the final one is to consider picking up rubbish and plastic when you're traveling. If you see plastic lying about, pick it up, put it in the bin. Maybe you could do a beach clean if you're visiting a beach, or if you're going for a walk somewhere, you can take a bag with you to collect some rubbish in there. Feels really good to kind of clean up the community and do your little bit. So I hope you enjoyed those tips, and it's going to encourage you to be more eco-friendly when you're traveling next time. I know that this is a really sensitive subject. Lots of people are talking about it nowadays, with flying really coming under fire and people opting to use the train and public transport a lot more. I know that I'm really considering doing this a lot more now. So let me know your tips if you have any more in the comments down below. I'd love to hear them, and please do check out the petition for Frugal Cup in the description down below. It would be amazing if we got loads of signatures and we could make a difference at home in the UK and get coffee shops to use some recyclable paper cups, because gosh, there are so many that are ending up in the bin and are causing a lot of harm. So yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!